I'm telling y'all, there was something that really just came over me. Everything I was dealing with was taking over me, as well as the lust and the anger. And it was just lingering and making me calculated. Hey, you guys, my name is Brianna, which means high, exalted, noble, and strong. Today I'm making a video about how I personally was demonically possessed. You guys have to understand that demonic possession is a lot more extreme and simplex than people believe it to be. It can be as serious and extreme as somebody having to have hands laid on them so they can be, those demons can be taken out of them, or those somebody having to call out and cast out those demons out of somebody. Or it can be as simple as you walking around with multiple personalities, schizophrenia, um, acting crazy. This demonic possession is when you have demons working inside of you and you have no control over them. I dated a narcissist, and that is the closest thing to a demon. And so at this time, when I was dating this narcissist, I dated the narcissist for about 7 years. And in this point of our relationship, this is after all the years of mind games, gaslighting, all the lies, so many lies. Oh my gosh, so many lies, all the manipulation. He basically had me to a point exactly where he wanted me. But where he messed up is this is the same point where God started to wake me up. So, after all the years of dealing with all the gaslighting and all that, all the stuff that comes with a narcissist, all the love bombing and things like that, I got to a point where I stopped all the confusion. I stopped questioning my own thoughts because of everything that he was doing to me, and angling my anger in confusion towards him, because I seen it was him. He was the problem. I was not doing anything. Everything that I was upset about was correct. He was the problem, basically. When he had seen that I had realized the monster that he was, he didn't respond by being apologetic or attempting to change his ways, even for a short amount of time, and trying to do another love bombing phase. He attempted to instead taint my image to basically anyone that would listen. And the main people that would listen to him were the people at his job. I knew this because there was at this point in time too, I was allowing him to use my car. So I would have to go to his job like uh probably like one or two times when I wanted to use my car uh to get it back from him. And when I would go up to his job, the women especially would treat me so oddly, or have little conversations with me about how, like, I remember there was one girl that took me aside when she saw me at the job, and she was like, I just want to let you know that when he's up here, he's not doing anything. I promise. When he's up here, he's not doing anything. Like, she just randomly had that conversation with me one time. And little did she know, at this point, I really was not feeling him. Like, I was done. I really wasn't doing the most at this, like, in this instance. Yeah, because I was ready to end things. So when I seen this, I was just like, oh yeah, there's something wrong with you, bro. Like, what is your deal? Like, I would always tell him too, in a relationship, you don't go sharing your business with everybody. Like, yes, if you have like a friend, like a true friend that you want to have some get some advice from, okay, cool. But that wasn't what he was doing. He was doing what men do, what I've seen men do when they want to get sympathy from women, to get those women, also try to get those women to date them, is make their spouse seem like a horrible person. So it makes it seem like it's okay that they're cheating. And then also he wanted to take my image with those people so he can have somebody to back him up, to try to make me feel like I was the problem again. At this time, it came to the point where I was just disgusted with what he was doing. So tensions had rose so high. So I kicked him out of my apartment, broke up with him, and started my journey of becoming a flight attendant. So what the problem was, after I gave up my apartment to become a flight attendant, there was like 2 months. My lease was up, and then I had 2 months before I had to go to flight attendant training. So I had to go back. I lived with my grandparents for about 3 weeks, and I lived with my mother for the remainder of the time before I had to go to training. Then the ping pong horror story of me going to training, failing, going back to my mother's house, that being outright horrible. Just, it was crazy because at the time I was really waking up. Like, I was waking up to God to realize what is really truly going on in the world, but going through the worst events of my life. Like, I had just went through a 7-year breakup where you are your mental is very fragile at this time. Then I'm dealing with family issues because I'm realizing that my mother's a narcissist, and she has my siblings, my sisters acting like flying monkeys, attacking me because within the spirit realm, they see that I'm waking up. Then, I got the failure from the flight attendant thing, and I really, that was something I really thought I wanted to do. So as I'm going through all this, and it got bad, real bad at my mom's house when I came back from failing the flight attendant, my first flight attendant training. Uh, when I came back from that first flight attendant training, it got super horrible at my mother's house, and I just wanted out. So this is when I started calling my ex again, just for, a place to go for, like, some hours or a night or a day, just to get away because it was that horrible. And so that's when the communication started back up. So during this communication, I did the most because, of course, since my mother was a narcissist, I was a trained people pleaser. So I did a lot of people pleasing and lustful thing to basically get his attention back on me. When we began talking again, I noticed that he was doing a lot of the love bombing things again, buying me stuff, putting me in hotels just to get away regularly. Like, he was doing it a lot. And I remember I would always ask him, like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this for me? I don't understand. What is making you do this for me? And he would never really have an answer. He would never really answer it directly. Yeah. And I felt like God was making him do that. But at this time, but now I'm starting to realize that it was more of, this is something that narcissists do. They'll help you out in hard times, and it'll be something that you really need and something that you appreciate. But the help is not really sincere, genuine help. The help is so that you become dependent on them. You start to think that they're the only person that you can depend on. They're the only person that's going to always be there for you. And in a true hard time, you can go back to them because they'll help you. And so that's nice. It's nice to have somebody to depend on. But when their love bombing phase runs out, because it's going to run out, they can only do that for so long. They can treat you however they want to treat you because you're depending on them. You're dependent on them. When we started talking again, I found out that he had another girl that he was talking to. He was actively talking to somebody, and this is just something that he does in all his serious, like all three of his serious relationships. He's always had somebody else alongside the relationship. During our relationship, he always had friends the entire time. Like, they caused problems in his past relationships, but he still does this. I why, I don't know, but yeah. So he had somebody else, and I realized I was just delusionally thinking, like, believing, like, okay, well, he's talking to somebody else. He's gonna eventually choose me over that person because he's just, I mean, look how he's treating me right now. He's like so in love with me and acting like I'm just the woman of his dreams, the woman of his life. So eventually this is gonna end. But that's not necessarily what happened, because I believe that he basically made up his mind that he was just going to have both and manipulate both of us. One night he had gotten me a hotel. And after we were going to stay at the hotel, I was going to take him I was going to take him to work in the morning. No. Okay. So this is how it happened. He had got me a hotel one night, and I had taken him to work. Then when I had dropped him off, he had sent a text message, and when it came to me, but it looked like the text message was meant for her. And so I really honestly, because like when I received that text message, I just received like an image of him in my mind. Like it was like a little mini vision of like how he looked when he sent the text message. I don't know where that came from, but it just looked like he was evilly sending the text message. Like everything that the text message that was sent to me was evilly done. He knew what he was doing when he sent me that message. So when I received the message, I was just like, okay, I'm not doing this again. And so I was just like, wow. And so as I was receiving the text message, I was stopping for gas. And so I got to this corner store. I'm sitting at this corner store and I'm thinking in my head, okay, what am I about to do? I don't want to have to deal with this again, but I could just kind of tweak the situation where I'm just allowing him to buy me hotels and stuff, but I'm not gonna get all the way back involved with it because this is how he is. He's not a good person to be around. I broke up with him for a reason. And so as I'm sitting there at the gas station, like I can't believe, like when I think back on this is crazy. I feel like God took all my peace away because you guys know comes from God, and when you're following God, He's gonna give you true peace. You're not gonna have true peace unless you're following God. So I felt like all my peace went away in an instance. And so as I'm sitting there at that gas pump, I feel all my peace go away, and I start thinking about him and the girl in the situation, and my thoughts start going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until I got to the point where I almost had like a little mini panic attack, and I'm just like, whoa, what the heck is this? I've I've been going through a lot, but I've been on the inside, I've been pretty joyful, if you want to call it that, through all this. So what is this? Well, that's all I was sitting there thinking, like, whoa, what is this? Like, this seems crazy. And so after I got that feeling, after that, what that felt like, I sent him a message. I was like, I can't do this. Then I blocked him and went back to my mother's house. I now honestly believe that that feeling of my peace being taken away was a warning from God. So I get back to my mother's house and I do that for some time, and eventually it becomes unbearable. So I decide to live in my car for a certain amount of time in the peak of the summer. And so eventually that became unbearable. So once again, I'm calling my ex because now I feel I see him as somebody that I can depend on. So when I call him, he starts getting me hotels to where I'm in a hotel every night. I think he got it like an extended stay. So I was in somewhere you know, for the rest of the time until I had to go back to training. Although it was very toxic, we began this delusional relationship where he was taking care of me and I felt like I was dipped back into a lustful and an evil, angry spirit. And so when the lustful spirit, I feel like I was dipped in this time because when I went back to my mother's house, I really feel like I was delivered from a lot of stuff. I was doing this was my first time trying fasting and prayer and really just knuckling down, getting into my Bible. So I felt like I was delivered from a lot. And with that lustful spirit, I had an experience uh, a little bit before I left my last own apartment where my lustful that's gonna be a whole story time for y'all, but my lustful spirit was out of control. I was doing the most. I was doing dancing, and I was also there was this not a flight attendant, a personal trainer at the gym I was going to where I did the most. Oh my goodness. I did the most. And I received wisdom from that experience. Also, I learned a lot. And after that I kind of just don't my lust wasn't out of control after I experienced that. I woke up. It made me realize a lot from the way that I acted in that experience. So when I fast forward back to when I'm with him in this period of time before I go to training, the type of lust that I was dealing with was attention. I needed attention. I was prideful. I needed him to want me even though I didn't want him, and leave that girl alone just because I was there at the time. And um there was some rejection there too because of what he was doing with me and the other girl, and jealousy. So that was the type of lust that I was dealing with. And when it came to anger, all the stuff that I had been through recently, it was quick, and it wasn't just anger, it was fury from everything that was going on. It was short lived because I would always bounce back to wisdom. And at the time, I really was still waking up. All this is going on, but I truly was waking up at the time. And so the anger would be short, extreme, but I would bounce back to wisdom. I couldn't help this feeling while all of this was going on, like I was distant from God. I was still walking on the walk as much as I could, but I felt like since I had went back to my ex, there was a distance there, and I could feel it. Although I came back to him with intentions of just having a place to go and sleep at night, I soon realized that I was under his spell, even though I would pretend that I would no longer wanted to be with him and I didn't care to be with him. It would still upset me with the little games that he would play where he would have the girl texting him or leave his phone open and things like that purposely. And also make it to where he would keep all the messages from her and keep little love notes and stuff in his pockets from her, but wouldn't let me read them, or like would also like he would do the things where he would like compliment the girl around me saying how she was a good person and stuff like this. So all this behavior engaged me into the situation. uh, the jealousy and the pride made me want to eliminate, like, get her out of the equation. So for whatever reason, because I know for a fact that I really didn't want him, but I feel like I was just under his spell, and it was engaging me the more that I was around him. This led to me wanting, since he didn't want to, like he would say, I don't want you seeing our messages over and over again. So this led me to want to see the messages even more. So eventually one night he was drunk and left his phone open, so I got to see their messages. When I see their messages, I see that his messages to her at the beginning of their relationship are the exact same from the messages that he messaged me at the beginning of our relationship. The whole love bombing and telling them that I know it's only been a short, telling her, I know it's only been a short amount of time, but I'm already in love with you. Then quickly after that, saying that he wanted kids with her and things like that. Guys, they hadn't even been talking for uh I know it was no longer than 3 to 4 months. And when I brought it up to him after I saw them, I was like, I asked him, I was like, so you love this little girl? And he made it seem like he like hesitated, like, I don't know. I don't know. He didn't really answer the question. And from further seeing the messages, also seeing that this girl was in a relationship, in an abusive relationship, in a serious relationship with like her baby's father. Like it was very toxic, the whole situation with them. As time continues on, I still keep, like, every time he gets drunk, because he got drunk like every day, I would go to his messages and see if he was talking to the girl and what they were talking about. Got to the point where she was talking about me. The messages really upset me because he was engaging in the conversation of talking about me. I went forward and I started talking. I had a personal conversation with her, like through his phone. I had a conversation with her, and I told the girl, I was like, since you want to have words to say about me, you can say it to me in person, and I will see you tomorrow morning since I see that you're on the schedule, because he's the manager. He makes the schedule. And so, as for him, since I seen the way he talked about me, which I already knew he was like that. I don't know why I was surprised. I guess with everything that was going on, it just was easier for me to become really, really upset in the instant. So I broke his phone. And since he was so drunk that night, when we woke up, I had to take him to work in the morning. And I didn't really sleep. I kind of was like calculated at this time. I'm telling y'all, there was something that really just came over me in this situation. It just felt like everything I was dealing with was taking over me, as well as the lust and the anger. And it was just lingering and making me calculated. And the way I was just sitting there, and now when I sit back and think about the way I was just sitting there waiting for him to get up to go to work so I can go address her was crazy. And how I got so crazy that fast really bothers me. So it comes in the morning. He sees his phone and he's like, "What the heck? Why is my phone broken up and busted up like this?" So I play it off and I'm like, "You did that last night." He was so drunk that he believed that he did it last night. And I was just like, "Hey, I gotta take you to work. Come on, let's go. You gotta go to work." He was still drunk from the night before, so he couldn't really like put two and two together. So as we get in the car, and I start playing King Von. And I'm playing King Von, and y'all, it's crazy because I was so for the song and what I was feeling in the song. But the wisdom just kept having me bounce back. So I didn't feel it as strongly as I could feel it, as I wanted to feel it, but I still felt it, but the wisdom was still there in the back of my head. So we're driving to his job, and I'm playing King Von, and his dumb self is sitting in the passenger seat, like, bumping in, like, oh, okay, yeah, give me hype before work. And I'm a little, as I'm just sitting there, just listening to it, like, no, you don't even understand. I hadn't had a whole conversation with, oh, girl, you don't even know what's going on. So we're going to the job, and we get there, and you guys are gonna find out what happened next week when I make another video because there's too much to record. I'm sorry to leave you guys on a cliffhanger, but there's just so much to unfold that I would be sitting here talking for hours. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it here so you guys can know how it started and how I was basically possessed. Ugh. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Go ahead and like this video for me. Subscribe so you can see the next video and be notified about it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Was demonically put. What the can I say it? The schizophrenia, schizophrenia.